Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Inspire Thug podcast, where we dive deep into the lives of extraordinary individuals who are making a difference and inspiring others through their unique stories. I'm your host, Siren. Joining me today is a special guest, Eng Sheng. Special because Eng Sheng was my classmate from Nanyang Technological University. We were the first cohort to graduate with a business degree majoring in human resource consulting. It's been about 21 years since we graduated, and we have both taken a bold leap in our careers, transitioning from HR directors to financial planner for Eng Sheng and myself as an entrepreneur. So I thought it would be a good idea, great to share our unique journeys that have led us to where we are today. And coincidentally, we share the same last name, Yang, so it really feels like a family. Hi, Eng Sheng.
Oh,
Hi,
hi, Sian.
thanks for joining us. So in this episode, right, we aim to inspire and shed light on the possibilities that lie within career changes, sharing our experiences, challenges, and successes along the way. So without further ado, let's dive into our conversation and discover the transformative power of embracing change and pursuing new career paths. So, Eng Sheng, it's a pleasure to have you here. All
Thank you
right.
for inviting me. Yeah.
Yes, lovely to see you again. Okay, my first question would be, right, it's very interesting about your career change, right? So, as a HR leader who made the transition to become a financial consultant, what inspired you to change your career path?
Well, I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And when my brother, who was a financial consultant, consulted me on how to grow and develop his team, right, trying to make use of my HR expertise, I came to understand more about the trade and found the financial consultant career pretty attractive for a few reasons. So the first is that it's a relatively low cost entrepreneur path as the product, the pricing, the after sales service, etc. were all already in the system. And I need to only invest my time to learn to provide consultation and service to potential clients, right? Secondly, it was a career where I feel that I will have a choice to choose and concentrate on certain segments and also decide on who I would like to bring on board as my clients. And I would say the third was really important as well, is that this business is scalable and sustainable. And I think it served my passion to develop people as I could work on a managerial career path to build and develop a team as well. So what about you, Siren? As a HR professional with extensive corporate experience who transitioned to entrepreneurship, what motivated you to start your own consulting, coaching, and training company?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just want to add on to your point. It's very interesting. I mean, your career move, I'm really very inspired and I admire your courage to do this. Yeah, and it's great that you found an opportunity to combine your passion for entrepreneurship with your desire to develop people. And it's appealing low cost path for you. Yeah, so it's really very interesting. So I can relate to your flexibility and freedom, which is one of the reasons why I start my own company. Yeah, so for me, I'm very passionate to make a difference in people's lives. So this passion serves as a driving force for me. Yeah. So I like to inspire people with positivity because of my own backstory. I'm not sure, maybe you all have heard of. I mean, I was a survivor of alopecia areata, right? So this, I really like to spread this positivity to people, yeah, to inspire them. So throughout my 20 years of HR career, I saw the impact of HR strategies, how coaching and training can impact individuals and organizations. So I want to inspire and empower people with these tools, help them with the knowledge as well as the mindset. I firmly believe in mindset, yeah, a positive mindset to thrive in their personal as well as professional lives. So by offering my consulting, coaching, and training services, I can make a direct impact to individuals and organizations. So that's what drove me to set up my own company.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about interesting. I mean, we both came from a HR background, right? How has your background in HR influenced your approach to what you're doing now in terms of financial planning?
Well, I think essentially, yes, I do see that a lot of people tell me that getting from a HR to a financial consulting is very different. It was a very big leap. But I would say that fundamentally, if I look at these two roles, trust is an absolute important factor in both HR and financial consulting. So as a HR previously, I used to engage with employees through very deep conversations to understand their motivations and development interests. So, and that was really to uncover opportunities to deploy them, to grow the business, as well as to help them maximize their potential. So in my current SC role, I take the same approach of being very genuine towards individual needs, and I spend a lot of time to understand and know my potential clients better before I work on advices and solutions for them. Also in my HR days, I have to look at employees in a holistic manner. So for example, when there was plan to deploy them for overseas assignment, it is not only about themselves or how it works for their career. I would take their family situation into consideration as well, since I know that this cannot just be viewed from a pure business or individual career sense. So when we have assignments like that, I would work on to ensure that all aspects of their lives are looked after or are looked into at least and are raised, so that assignments when it happens, it will normally go smoothly and will of course be a win-win situation for both the business and individuals. Right. I've also translated this, of course, to my current work as a financial, consultant, because I think financial needs should be considered in a holistic manner. So, for example, when you have a business owner who wants to do financial planning, you shouldn't be only looking at his family, but you should also consider the impact of his business financial situations that could impact the family situation or his estate in future. Of course, individuals will also need to look at their loved ones or other commitments. For example, parents or charity that they believed in, or some of the other commitments, rather than just looking at a sole, financial plans for themselves. Right. So this is one thing that I would say is very translatable between what I did when I was in HR to the FC role.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you? In your consulting, coaching, and training services, well, how have you leveraged your HR experience to enhance the value that you provide to your clients?
So I totally agree with you, right? When you say trust is very important, by taking the time to genuinely understand the individual needs and your potential clients, right, you can build trust and rapport, as well as laying a strong foundation for providing your tailored advice and solution. So I take a similar approach as well, because in HR, right, trust is very important, right? When we build trust with our stakeholders, so I carry the same mindset as well when I do my own business. So also, as an internal HR professional, right, I get the first-hand insights into the challenges of organizations, how organizations work, the structure, the processes, systems, practices, etc. Right? So I have clear understanding of these so that I can approach client engagements with comprehensive perspective, right? As well as I can understand and appreciate the specific pain points better, I guess, and opportunities for improvement. So I'm able to, plus my deep experience in talent management, which involves, encountering common challenges in terms of like employee engagement, performance management, talent development, leadership development, succession planning, etc. So I'm able to offer practical solutions and strategies tailored to the client's specific needs. Yeah. And I guess in my 20 years of career history, right, I have tried out different industries because I like the different exposure and experience. So having worked in various industries and organizations, I bring a broad perspective to my services. So I'm able to understand the different best practices of different organizations, right? And then that comes and then being creative to package into a unique service offering. And I guess lastly, HR being a people person. So I am able to empathize with both employees and management. So I understand the complexities and sensitivities involved in managing HR matters. Yeah. So I can bridge the gap between the various stakeholders of an organization. Yeah. So I guess that helps in terms of communication, collaboration, and helping to improve relationships. Yeah. So that's transferable. Yeah. how I
There's a
approach.
lot of translatable skills in that sense then.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
so
that's great.
interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
We have made significant career changes, Eng Sheng. I believe, right,
mhm.
definitely there will be challenges. So what challenges did you face, right, in your new career domain, and how did you overcome them, or any specific advice, right, to navigate the fears that you had?
I mean, I think you face challenges everywhere, right, in that sense. But of course, in a career change, you can imagine it's really a deep plunge whereby there are things that we are still uncovering all the time. So when I moved from a HR role to this FC role, I think the greatest challenge at the beginning for me was really to adapt to the way people interacted with me. I guess I get it a lot from entrepreneurs as well as especially in our trade as financial consultant. You can imagine previously as a HR, I had no difficulties finding people to meet for coffee or lunch. You know, anyone I would call would be excited to probably meet me or
Exactly.
probably a bit worried. Probably a bit worried, but okay, you know, if it is over lunch, especially, they know that okay, it's cordial and it's friendly. Um, and so, but when I became an FC, somehow I felt that it might be me, it might be me being sensitive, right? So somehow I felt that people treated me a little differently to the extent that I even feel that some people were kind of avoiding me.
Mm,
And I remember that I felt rather hurt at that point of time
mm,
because, you know, these were all be it friends, ex-colleagues, you know,
yeah,
my warm contacts.
yeah,
But I slowly rationalized the whole behavior, you know. I mean, as a HR, that's the thing, right? You think a lot about humans' behavior. So
exactly.
I rationalized about this behavior. I start to see that probably these people were not comfortable to meet me, not because they don't like me,
Yes.
but they were concerned about how this relationship will go if they, you know, for example, I try to sell them a product like what they have seen a lot from their FC friends.
Yeah.
You know, a meeting will always go about, oh, do you want this? Do you need
Mm,
insurance and
mm,
stuff, right? And if they don't need it or they're not very convinced about it, I think they're more concerned with the part that they will need to reject me, right? So I ultimately I felt that it was not about me, it was about what they were anticipating me to do, and they were rejecting that, you know, and ironically that made me feel already very rejected. So so I think
I can
that
understand.
was
I feel
yeah.
you. Yeah, I get that too. Not just you. No, people treat you now differently or see you in a different light. And sometimes they think like, it made me feel like they think that I have ulterior motive, right? But actually, no. It's just to catch up. Yeah, I can be
Yeah,
quite helpful.
exactly that. I mean, there are many times when I'm catching up with people because I have not caught up with the person for a while, right? So it's really just to kind of get a tune of their life and see what's happening, you know. But well, I mean, sadly that was the case, and I think at the beginning that was one something that I really had to get over. You know, I had to, you know, do self-talks and things, and at the same time, right, you know, getting into a role of a financial consultant, there was actually a lot of things to learn. You know, it was right to say that it was a plunge. It was a very big gap because there was actually a lot of things to learn when I got into the new role. From the base of things like there was a lot of compliance and
Mm,
processes. You know,
mm,
I thought that when you sell something, it was just like, okay, you know, sell it, right? But you know, when people were saying, okay, I think I'll get this, I think that's when at the beginning hell starts for me, because there was a lot of compliance and processes and paperwork that we need to get done because MAS is
yes.
governing this whole thing, right? So we're very careful about it. And me coming from a HR background, I'm very compliant. So I'm very careful with what I do when it comes to all these documentations.
Mm,
So this was something that I was quite stressed over as well. And then
mm,
on top of that, there were many products with very different features to get familiar with. So I would say that you know, and I would say that the next thing was really I was purely on commissions. You know,
mm,
there was no scheme that I could sign up for or things like that. Unlike some of the other financial consultants when they switch
mm,
industry,
mm,
due to my unique situation, I was purely on comms. So of course that that was the first time in my life, right, where I don't get a fixed paycheck.
Yeah.
And that brought some financial stresses to me as well.
Mm.
Especially in the first few months when I started on this industry and things were rather, quiet, right? So during that period, I think what I did a lot was really self-talk and I reflected a lot. I took the belief that if I do the right things with the right mindset, with the right intention to help people, I think good things will come my way. And well, I abide by that philosophy and I trot on, and I would say thankfully the people I approached started, to buy into my advices and solutions.
Great.
And that's when things became better, and I started to be a lot more positive and game on for the challenges that
Mm.
comes, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so
I
so
think I can resonate with you right on this, right? It's always difficult or more challenging to, as a, when you start out, right? You just need to go through that hurdle, that phase, right? And so, yeah, self-talk is very important. And I really resonate with you when you say right mindset is very important, yeah, because with the right mindset, right, it's like you love what you're doing, and if you believe in the value that you create, right, with the intention to, let's say, make a difference in people's lives, right, and then people will come to you, yeah, naturally. So for me, I also don't like to hard sell. Yeah. So if people can feel my sincerity as well as they believe in the value that I bring, right, they will naturally be drawn to me. Yeah. Yes.
mm, that's great. And what about you? I mean, how's the journey going for you? How are
Yeah.
challenges getting on?
Yeah, so it's frankly, it's really not an easy journey, honestly. Yeah, correct. So I can feel your challenges as I'm going through a similar phase as well. I think one of the biggest challenges, right, is to build your customer base. Yeah, to get build your credibility and get customers, right? So this involves stepping out of my comfort zone and put myself up there. So, for example, right, I was never active on social media. Really, I didn't even have Facebook. I don't post on LinkedIn last time. Yeah, but now, because of I'm doing my own business, I really need to build my own branding, right? So I have to put myself out there. And I have to then learn and juggle a lot of such tasks. Example, marketing my services, so now I can design, I use different apps to design my own posters, creating videos, for example. And actually, this takes up a lot of time. And with my limited experience in this, right? So it's really a steep learning curve. I have to learn and sharpen the skills along the way. Also, I do a lot of networking these days to showcase my expertise through thought leadership, client testimonials. So I guess overcoming these challenges, right, really takes a lot of commitment in terms of time, effort, and perseverance. Yeah, like what you say, perseverance. And you have to be open to learn and experience new things. Yeah. So now I even like creating podcasts as well. So it's something new that I'm learning to do. Yeah. So of course you will face fears and doubts along the way, right? Embarking on a new venture, new career. And to overcome this, I focus on my purpose. It's like finding the why you are doing this, which I shared earlier, right? The intrinsic motivation of helping people, making a difference in people's lives becomes my driving force. Yeah. So each time, let's say you feel down, right, think about the why. Yeah. Then it helps to bring you back. I also reminded myself of the successes I had in my career, right, and the positive feedback that I received from clients. So that reinforced the belief in your own capability. And
Oh,
yeah, and I'm a firm believer in growth mindset. Yeah. So I view each challenge, right, as an opportunity to learn and grow rather than allowing fear to hold me back. So I always go back to the care framework. You hear me talking about this care framework many times, right? So it really works each time for me, no matter how difficult the situation could be. So see, once again, choose to stay positive and happy. Yeah. Acknowledge your thoughts and emotions, especially when you're feeling negative, right? It serves as an alert signal, but then put a stop to it because such emotions doesn't serve you. So then you have to reframe your mind. That's when R comes in, and there are several ways to reframe your mind. One of them is to think about every situation, no matter how bad it is, right? It can be turned into a gift. Yeah. And lastly, E, like what you said, talk to yourself positive things. Yeah, embrace positive self-talk. So that's how I deal with my challenges.
Hmm. Well, sounds like a lot actually, and I could sense that whole fear of social media because that was what I went through. At some point of my, I mean, we switched kind of careers during COVID times, and it was not as easy to just meet face to face and things. So I think social media became kind of an integral part of how we have to market things, and yeah, and I understand every time before I click the post, it's a bit of a struggle. I look through things again. I want to ensure that things are right. So, but well done. I mean, I've seen you doing so much videos and podcasts, and and I thought, well, that's remarkable. So, well, kudos to you,
You.
in that sense.
Thank you, thank you. Honestly, the beginning can be quite a pain, but you get yeah. Okay,
That's good.
great. Eng
Mm,
Sheng, we have on this note, right? I mean, we talk about growth
yeah.
mindset, right? So it's like we have taken both steps in our careers and embraced new challenges, right? How have you applied growth mindset in your career transition and continually push the boundaries of your comfort zone?
It's a very interesting question. I see that adopting that whole growth mindset into my career transition, I see great purpose in my work, and I would like to bring a better perspective and image to this industry, which ironically I think has been somehow plagued at that point of time. So I also want to provide better advices and services to the people I serve and to raise the standard of financial advisory. So as such, I continuously improve and upgrade myself through certification advice, courses. So for example, when I first started and when, you were talking about trying to build up the clientele base, which was extremely important at the beginning. I was also extensively working on training myself. So I did a very extensive 10 days course in the first few months of my career switch, really to gain access to a tool to systematically construct a personal financial roadmap to serve clients' needs.
Mm,
So this was really deep. It was a lot of, coaching and a lot of role play, which I have almost never done previously.
mm,
So, and then, in the past year, as I start to get a hang of some of the work of this role,
mm,
I've also completed more certifications, right, which I thought were necessary because I need to ensure that my knowledge is up to date, is at a good level to advise people. So
mm,
this is where I get my certifications for chartered financial consultant. I went for a 6 months or 7 months course on high net worth advisory, and I even did, specialist course for estate planning as well as legacy plan.
mm,
And this is of course because of the people I serve at their life stage are
mm,
probably people who are at the middle age or even people who are more senior than that, where things like that are starting to set in, right? So
mm,
I couldn't pick an relatively easy step of trying to go for mass numbers and just going for the what we call low hanging fruits, right? So
mm,
so I had to go for very deep consultation work.
mm,
Um, the other thing which is to me, in fact, rather difficult, as much as people see that, in my HR role, I was doing a lot of marketing and sales in that sense, right? I was never in a real sales role where I'm looking at numbers, when I'm looking at, sales figures, and how my reward is so directly rewarded, tied to that. So
mm,
switching from a back office HR role to a very frontline sales and marketing function,
mm.
I have to say that was very challenging, right? To
Understand.
face rejection is a daily affair, and because
Mm,
this is very much your own branding and your own business, um, I do at point of time take it rather personally, and I was thinking, wow, I mean, is there anything that I could have done better? Was it
mm,
anything that I've done wrong?
mm,
You know,
mm,
but I think all these rejections provided me opportunities to learn.
mm.
And like what I say, I reflect a lot and I
Yeah.
always think of why it didn't happen, why
Mm,
it's happening for some other folks. I don't think
mm.
I'm worse off, but
Yeah.
I think there are things that I probably need to improve and do so that
Mm,
I can be a better, even better version of myself, right? So that's what has been keeping me, going and in that sense to always try to continuously improve myself. Yeah. So
Great.
I'm not sure. What about you, Siren? I'm sure there's a lot of things that you can share with us on the growth mindset.
Yeah.
So how has
Yeah.
this been, some guiding principle for you?
Thank you. Firstly, I want to say what you have shared really resonates deeply with me, right? Such as the steep learning curve, transitioning from a back office HR role, right, to now frontline sales and marketing role, right? And facing rejections is really constantly, right? It doesn't feel good, yeah. But or even non-response from people, right? Yeah, it can be quite hurting, right? So it's really a
Blue
lot
ticks,
about talking to yourself positive things, right? Okay, so just now the care framework I already mentioned, right? I want to add on to how I use growth mindset, right? Actively seek out learning opportunities. So like you, I take up a lot of courses as well to further upskill myself, increase my knowledge so that I'm up to date, stay relevant with the latest trends and best practices in my field. So I really did a lot of self-investment, yeah, invest in my self-development. Um, so I also, like you also, I also believe in getting feedback. Yeah, so I constantly seek feedback from clients or friends because constructive feedback provides me with valuable insights, how I can always, improve and be better. So recently I came across this very beautiful quote. Outcome is for the ego, journey is for the soul. Yeah, so it's like while receiving
Right.
negative feedback, right, can be hurting, the truth hurts, right? Rather than viewing it as a criticism, I think you can see it as an opportunity for growth and development. So it's like so that you can learn, always learn from the experience and help you to ask yourself this question, like you reflecting, like, how can I be better? Yeah. So I think that's very important. And also, I constantly challenge myself, get myself out of the comfort zone, right, to take on new and unfamiliar projects. So right now, I am actually working with an overseas partner uh, to combine both our expertise, right, and then design a brand new, unique program. Yeah, so I
Okay.
guess, yeah, by stepping out of my comfort zone, I was able to broaden my expertise, expand my network, and also discover new opportunities for my business. So I think this
That's great.
mindset of growth mindset is really important. I'm a firm believer in it because it has enabled me to embrace change, be more adaptable, continually evolve and improve both personally and professionally.
Hmm. Okay. That sounds really good. I think that whole thing about building partnership and everything, and trying to look for new, stuff
Yeah.
that goes out of your comfort zone. I think that's really important, especially in our stage of working on our new businesses, right?
Exactly, correct. Yeah, it's like always
Mm.
you have to come up with, let's say, new products, right? So that it's unique, lah, huh? Rather than it's always the same thing. Okay, moving
Mm.
on, right? What tips or strategies, advice do you have for our listeners, right, who wants to embrace change and pursue new career paths?
Wow. Okay. So this is something whereby I had done some kind of this framework previously, because I get asked this question a lot. So I think at this stage probably I'll just introduce to our listeners the acronym NASA. So NASA, you know, as you know, NASA stands for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and this agency in US is responsible for the civil space program and research.
Hmm.
So, NASA could represent different things to different people, right? Space is, to some people, wow, brave new frontiers. I can go to the Mars, to moon and things, or to seek out, the galaxy and stuff. And to some, it's a bit more like, okay, I really don't know why people are excited in space. I'm happy on Earth. This
Yeah.
planet is where I need to go. And then you have some other people who feel that, wow, I mean, that's very scary situation, right? The space
Hmm.
is so unknown. And I've always shared that I had this nightmare, right, of, wow, I mean, if you are in space and you kind of float off, you are out of your vessel and you float off.
Hmm.
It's a terrible death because you know that you're going to die. You still have oxygen, And the sad thing is that in a few days when oxygen is low, you will probably sleep to your death, right? And you don't know where you are by the way. So it's very scary in that sense.
Mm.
And I think this is exactly what I see as a very similar to a career change. You know, it could be exciting in one point, and it's very scary on the other side because you don't know what to expect, right?
Mm.
Or people tell you things and you're like, no, but when I experience it, it's a different ball game altogether.
Mm.
So I'll use this acronym NASA, NASA, to share my thoughts, on pursuing a new career path, right?
Mm.
On what could be. So, from NASA, so I would say that the N stands for network. So I think it's important, right, when we are thinking about a new career or something that we are trying to get into, to talk to as many people about the thoughts as possible. So, you go by 80-20 rule. You will see that 80% of people probably trying to talk you out, like, this is a stupid idea or whatsoever. But the thing is this, you would also have 20% of people who will be willing and interested to talk to you about these new thoughts, and who thinks that this is that brave new frontier. And the interesting thing is this, right? You start to realize in this world, successful people love to share and help others become successful,
Mm.
right?
Totally
So
agree.
so that's yeah, so that's very important. You need to touch as many people as possible, talk to them in the network, and you will see and get some of this 20% of people who will be able to help you, to tell you what are things you need to get done, what are blind spots that you need to be careful of, and things, right? And the thing is this, people usually, on the surface will share only the good things about stuff, about their work, right? And it's only when you ask, you get to see those blind spots that you don't, or the bad things that
Mm.
are in those industries or the trades.
Mm.
So that's what is very important. Network, network, network. Talk to people, especially people who are already in that career that you are going to try, right? Or to go into.
Mm.
The A is, to me, attitude. Right, so attitude is there's a vast number of attitudes that you should have. And here I will just talk about two H, right?
Mm.
So the first one is really about being happy, and the
Mm.
second one is being hardworking, right? So I think, and these two, I would say, are traits and attitude that are extremely, extremely important for people who are starting out something new, right? To
Mm.
be happy and to be hardworking. So firstly, happy people attracts positive things. You're
Mm.
sad, you're low in energy, chances are you will get more and more negative energy coming to you. You start complaining, everybody will complain to you, because it's birds of the feather flocks together, right? Everybody would love to kind of bitch about life or whatsoever. But when you're very positive and you go into a place with positive energy, chances are you will get happier people coming to you, you'll get more positive people coming to you, and that
Yes.
helps to build up that positive energy, especially when you're starting something new, right? And exploring
Yeah.
some new frontiers.
Okay, so Eng Sheng,
So I
your
think,
this point, sorry, just because I'm very excited about this point, aligns with the care framework, right? The C, first you have to choose to be happy, right, and stay positive. Exactly what you just mentioned.
yeah, yeah. So I think that happy thing is important. So when you meet people, when you meet, your prospects, your clients, the people around you in network, just always remind yourself, I need to show that excitement, that happiness, and then enter that meeting, and you will see great things happening out from there,
Mm.
right? The second thing, which is inevitable, to be very frank, is that we will almost definitively need to work harder than before to be up to speed.
Agree.
When I was
Mm.
in HR and I have practiced that for almost 20 years, I can you can safely assume, and I can tell you frankly, that after the first few years, and once you get to a certain stage, you start to realize that you're just kind of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. You're kind of quite good at it. You're just redoing it, and you're kind of it's very comfortable, state
Exactly.
in that sense,
Mm.
and you're just doing. So I
Mm.
can imagine the CEO, even as much as you see him as almighty, after a certain time number of years, yes, it's still exciting to them, but okay, at least even if they're not cruising, they're at least going at an easier pace than when they first started.
Yeah.
So, and that's the fact. So when we learn everything, the beginning is always a steep learning curve, right? So we need to understand that we need to work extra hard. We can't compare it to, when you were in the last role. It has to be something which will be tougher. So I think that having that mindset is very important. I know that I need to be hardworking. So,
Yeah.
previously I would kind of be happy that I'm working like 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
I'm trying to squeeze my work into 10 hours or even 8 hours if I ever can. Interestingly, when I first started on this career, I easily work 16 hours a day.
I can
Not only
understand.
working,
Yeah.
yeah, not only about work, it could be everything related to work, including the learning and the training, right?
Exactly
So,
correct. Yeah. So I just
yeah,
want to
and
say,
then,
right, I can resonate with you because it's like last time when I was in HR corporate role, right, I was already working very hard and very busy already. Right? Then now my friends and family say, how come now you're even busier than before? I say, yeah, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of learning things to do as well, right? It's really yeah. So definitely you work harder than before.
all right. So it becomes a one-man show, right, or one-woman show in your
Yeah,
case. So we have to do a lot more things, especially at the beginning, because you're setting up systems, setting up platforms for yourself. And
that's right.
at least for me, and I believe for you as well, I see when we want to get things right from the beginning.
Mm,
So I think that's very important, right? So second, for the A, right, I would say happy and hardworking. Those are the two attitudes that you need to put in place.
mm,
NASA, NAS. So the S to me is start, right? Start. Be it to research on the requirements to enter the new career, be it about uncovering the choices and deciding on the path, on starting to get the necessary certifications, educations, knowledge in that domain.
yes,
We have to understand one thing: a plan is only a plan, right?
exactly.
Even in my current role, it's exactly that. A financial plan to you is useless until you start getting it in place, right? Or you
Yes,
start working on it, right? So nothing will happen,
yes,
if you have a plan. A plan is
yes,
very nice. You will put it in shelf and it will gather dust and nothing will happen.
exactly.
And I always joke on the deathbed, you'll look at the plan and you're like, okay, why didn't I do it, right? So I think that's very important. Start doing something when you think about it and you are interested and keen to work on it. So this is one thing that my leader has always tell me: thinking causes suffering. So just get started, right? And I
Yeah,
do start to agree a lot more into this. Sometimes we think too much, and
yeah.
usually we think too much.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean resonates strongly with me as well. Again, right, it's like sometimes you tend to overthink, and because when you overthink, right, then you don't take any action. Yeah, so I think the point about starting it, you have to start somewhere. Very good point. Thank
All
you.
right. So start, and the last alphabet A, right, is adjust along the way, right?
Mm, mm,
So the thing is this, I mean, we always have a perfect end picture in mind. It's just like when you go traveling, you will have that perfect picture in mind, right? I go into the airport, everything is nice. I get on the plane, everything is good. I get to my destination on time. I get to the hotel and it's nice. I go shopping, whatever, everything is there. And to your horror, the holiday could actually start with the plane being delayed. You miss your connecting flights. You get to the hotel and then it's fully booked. Something is wrong here in the room. And when you go on a holiday, it starts raining. When it's not
exactly.
supposed to rain, the photos don't turn out as well. You want
Mm,
to eat something and okay, it's fully booked. So the thing is this, right? I think be very stubborn with your goals. Be very stubborn with the endpoint of the goals. The goal is like the travel, the experience, right? That is extremely
mm,
important, and be
mm,
very stubborn about it. Do it, right? And get towards it. But be very flexible about your methods, right? At the
mm,
beginning, when we were thinking, okay, I'll just take the plane there and things like, if that plane is cancelled,
mm,
right? And there are alternative planes, you know where you have to get to. I have to go for that holiday. Let's just take another plane, right?
exactly.
If I go to the hotel and something is wrong about this room, let's just change a room, right? Or change a hotel. If this
Mm,
food is not available, let's eat something else, right? So
mm,
be very stubborn about that whole thing. I want a vacation to get going, but just be flexible along the way because not everything will turn out the way that you plan
Right,
for it,
yeah.
or you think it will translate out, right? So there will be obstacles along the way. So you can imagine, even for a very happy thing like traveling, there will be a lot of obstacles that will come along the way, and you will have to overcome some of this along the way as well,
Mm,
let alone a career change. So there will be obstacles along the way. Adjust that path, fine-tune accordingly, right?
mm,
So that's my NASA, so in a nutshell, N for network, A for attitude, the happy and hardworking, S for start getting something done, and
mm.
A, just along the way, right? So
Good.
that's what I think, yeah, it's in essence what I could summarize to help people work on a career change.
Wow, I love that. Your acronym so nice. Yeah, great. So maybe I'll just add on and reinforce some of your points, right? Pretty similar that you already mentioned. I feel you have to reflect on your passions and values, right? So it's like, again, taking time to explore what truly you are passionate about, that aligns with your values. So it's like you find the purpose and why in what you're doing. So that gives you the guiding force, yeah, to make your decisions, informed decisions about your career change. And then also like what you mentioned, like start, right? That means like, oh, you need to gather research. So just gather knowledge, right, about the industry, let's say, about the roles that you're interested in, research on the skills necessary, what are the qualifications that's necessary, and then come up with a plan, right? And then identify if there's any skills or any gaps that you need to close, and then close those gaps. Yeah, so I think those are some of my points. And I truly agree with you that the networking is super important. I can't stress enough of this, right? The networking. So surround
Mm.
yourself with people who can support you, as well as they can give you guidance. So find your mentors as well. I think it's very important that you can find mentors that can guide you and give you those insights as you mentioned. Yeah, and then I guess just now we mentioned already, right? It's like no matter your career change, right, there will be some transferable skills that you bring with from your previous roles. Yeah, so don't think like, oh, it can be quite scary to transition into a new career, but think about the transferable skills so that at least, you can actually lessen the anxiety, thinking that you actually have done it before, right? So it just requires some adaptation, for example, or additional learning. And then like what we have
Yeah.
already mentioned, persistence. Yeah, really you will face a lot of obstacles, setbacks, challenges. So with a growth mindset, embracing change, be perseverant. I think be persevering, yeah. So I think learn from mistakes, yeah, and then adapt your approach, like what you mentioned, adjust along the way. Mm.
Yeah, that's very true, and I think yeah, the part about we keep stressing about that whole engagement thing with networking and stuff. I think that's probably the first place that you can start, right? Get to understand where these people gathers and try to just get into that circle. That is absolutely important. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah, lor. And I can't stress enough the importance of embracing a growth mindset, really. Because growth mindset, really, you view challenges as opportunities for learning and growth, and then you will embrace these new experiences, you'll be open to feedback, and then you will continually seek ways to improve yourself, yeah, and develop yourself. Mm. Okay, so let's talk about
Yeah,
interestingly,
very
right?
true.
I'm sure the career change has impacted you on both personal and professional aspects. So tell us more about this, Eng Sheng.
Um, Well, I would say that and when I switch role, from the very hardworking, a lot of hours put in, um, it's interesting because I found a very new level of passion and excitement in my professional life.
Mm,
Even though I was at a pretty senior level in my HR career. Coming to be an FC, I would say I'm the lowest life form in that sense. So ironically, even though I started, at the bottom of the ladder or again, I saw this very new level of passion and excitement. I see myself going into a stage where I could really integrate my work and life together. Because this essentially is like entrepreneurial role, right, whereby I can plan my own time and things. I'm only responsible for myself to that extent. So The boundaries between work days and weekend to me totally blurred. And yeah, I mean the concept of weekdays are for work and weekends are for rest totally, was erased.
Yeah.
And I started to schedule my life quite simply around important family activities and my business and social appointments. Right. So if there was a birthday that I need to we are celebrating on Wednesday, so that Wednesday evening is blocked, right?
Yeah.
If there's Mother's Day on that Sunday, okay, that's blocked, right? Or whatsoever, right? Or if my daughter or my son has a parents teachers meeting, okay, that afternoon is blocked, right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to business, yes, this meeting that I set up with my clients. It could be a weekday
Yeah.
morning lunch, dinner. It could be a weekend lunch. Yeah, so I'm basically slotting appointments and my family activities into the slots, right? And so the thing is this, there could also be periods where I'm working for 7 days in a week,
Mm.
right? And then I look at, okay, tomorrow is going to be Monday, but it's going to be a rest day. But at the same time, interestingly, and even up till now, that's one very interesting thing. Monday, I have taken Monday in a very different view now, right? I used to, we always talk about the Monday blues, and it's like, oh,
Then
it's
Sunday you will feel
Monday, the start of the work week. Yeah, you
yeah.
get a whole stress on Sunday night. I was like, oh, tomorrow I need to go to work. But I can tell you, interestingly, I look
Don't get
forward
that
to
now, yeah.
Mondays. I absolutely don't get that now, right? On Sunday evening, I'm like, oh, finally Monday is coming. I can finally do some work, you know? So I look forward to Monday now as it represents the start of another week to get things done. I feel a lot happier in that sense as I know that I am, yeah, I mean, I am going, what I'm doing is creating value for both me and my clients. And, it maps into my longer term plan or my
Mm.
long term career map. So that's for one. And so of course, the nice, sexy thing about this is also there are times when I am able to take time off during the weekdays. So,
Yeah.
previously everything is about weekdays work, weekend you can do whatever
Yeah.
you want, recreational. And if I need to do holidays or I need to do any errands on the weekdays, I need to take leave or whatsoever.
Mm.
I have no leave now, right? MOM doesn't say anything about my leave. I can overwork and it's not their problem, right? So um but the good thing is this, I'm able to take time off during the weekday. So I could go into JB when the causeway is not packed, right? For
I
example,
did that as
I could do
well.
sport. Yeah, I mean I could cycle. I love cycling. I can cycle in the morning when there's less traffic, for example, or in the afternoon, or things like that. So I'm quite flexible in all this, so I could take my short breaks as I want to, but I can also go continuous
Mm.
on work, right?
Mm.
So that's, I think, what is a very obvious,
Yeah.
change, and I see myself as definitely more sustainable in this state of
Mm.
the work and life. Yeah.
Mm.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. What about you, Siren? I mean, what do you see
Yeah.
about this whole transition? Yeah.
Thanks for asking this. Oh, I can really relate to what you say because it's very similar for me as well. Right now, I'm on my own. I have the flexibility and freedom. And interestingly, like you, I also look forward to Monday now because it's the start of a week to get things done, right? And nowadays I post a motivational quote on Mondays, right?
Yes,
It's
I
like
see that. I see that.
yeah, because I want, as part of my work, to inspire people. So I want them to, start the week with positivity. So I find this task very meaningful and I actually look forward to doing that. Like you, I also believe, Mondays can be a good day too. It doesn't have to be, thank goodness it's Friday. Yeah, so that, interesting. Yeah, I really saw this different change as well. And also
Mm.
like you, the career change has brought about a sense of fulfillment. And because it aligns with my passion, right? I'm excited about the work that I do. And it gives me great satisfaction, right, to know about the positive impact that I can make on people's lives. So it's really very fulfilling. And the saying goes is like, love what you do what you love. So it's really very, this kind of purpose has brought a greater sense of happiness as well as contentment. And recently, I actually caught up with friends who I have not met for a long time, and they say I look
Mm.
refreshed, more refreshed now. So I guess
Good.
that's a nice thing, yeah. So also, professionally wise, right, this change has definitely helped me to grow. I've learned a lot and grown a lot over the last 9 months since I'm doing this on my own, right? Because the change has pushed me out of my comfort zone. I pick up new skills, continually learn and adapt, right? So through this process, I have become even more resilient, as well as confident and adaptable. And this kind of traits, right, have actually permeated into other areas of my life as well. So I think that's a very profound change. And also, like you, it has given me that greater sense of autonomy, right? So now I can spend more time with my loved ones. And also, like you, I can take weekdays, weekend doesn't matter anymore, right? It's like you can schedule it. And I recently just went into JB also on a weekday as well. So work-life balance is very nice to suit my needs. And but I know I have to be more disciplined because, like you, sometimes I can be working 7 days in a week as well. Yeah. So I need to put in more leisure and rest time. And also, I really love the fact that the career change, right, has given me the opportunity to build a strong network. So once again, I go back to that building that network, right? It allows me to meet people that I may not have done so if I was in a corporate HR role. Yeah. So the opportunity to meet with, let's say, renowned people in the field, successful people in the field, right? It's really a privilege because such interactions, right, inspired me to constantly learn and grow. As what you say, they will share their success stories. You learn from them how they have been successful. So the stories of perseverance, their success, right? It fuels my drive to excel a bit. Okay. So it's really, I really like the exposures that I get now. Hmm.
That's good. That's
Okay.
good. Yeah. So I can see that excitement in you, right? As you
Yeah,
talk about this.
so that's why it's like the continuous learning and all that is energizing. It's really very energizing. Yeah. And then people will say, how you find so much energy to do all these things? Huh? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess during corporate HR days when I'm not sure about yourself, but for me, when we want to attend the training, I'm always thinking about what's the value to the business versus what's the value to me. Because I'm sometimes using company's time, right, when I attend some of these trainings or seminars. So you always think about that, and sometimes I struggle and I see this, oh, I think it's interesting, but okay, maybe not much value to the business. Okay, I'll probably not do it. So
Exactly.
now it's very different because you are just building yourself up. So whatever you see and you think that, okay, I think this will make me a better version, let's go for it, right? So it's a very different situation now, and because we are doing something on our own, we need skill sets in actually a lot of domains.
Definitely.
And it's not only about professional knowledge, it's also about even simple things like how can I do administration better? How can I do this better? How can I do customer service better? How can I, there's tons
Yeah.
of how can I, which I think on the daily basis, and how can I make this better and easier for myself, right? So, and a lot of times training previously, you feel that it's like, okay, maybe I go for a course, I get some certifications. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
To me now, certification actually is nothing much. I think the skills is so much more important. So yeah, I think that's also one of the bigger challenge or change rather that have really came across to me in terms of learning. Yeah,
Yeah. So really, this journey has helped us, right, to really learn and grow a lot. Hmm.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
As we conclude the session,
Hmm.
what final thoughts and comments do you have for our listeners, Eng Sheng?
Well, I think I'll conclude by sharing that making a career change is a big decision. It's a big decision that one should not just thread alone. You know, kind of mentioned it earlier, but don't keep this a secret. Don't keep this a secret like you're on secret affair. Share and discuss it with people around you, especially those familiar with the industry. I think I pointed out that a number of times.
Hmm.
And I think another thing that we probably didn't talk too much earlier was that it is very important for your family and close friends to support your thoughts,
Hmm.
right? I think this is extremely crucial, especially during the early tough days. It's also extremely crucial if you want to sustain in this because You can imagine if your spouse or friends keep reminding you that, oh, you know, those good old days, you're stupid. Why do you do this? You could just go back, just turn back is easier. Um, that's what a normal, you know, average person will always tell you. And there's nothing wrong in it. Their intention are always positive, right?
Exactly.
But if you are someone who is constantly pulling you back, you know, can you imagine a horse it can only throttle. He will not be able to, you know, run or what
Exactly.
we call canter or gallop, right? If you keep holding the reins. So
Yes.
when people loosen the reins and say, hey, you know, we support you, we see that it's tough for you, you know, but we know you can do it. It is a very different level of energy. So
Mm.
that's very, very important. Convincing them is one thing, but I would say that at least get them to support and get that understanding that I really need your support, you know, dear friend or dear family member. And I really hope that you will let me have this opportunity to do this, right?
Yeah.
And to encourage me along the way. I think that's extremely important.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so that buy-in, at least the buy-in,
Correct. I mean,
is
it's
not
like you never
convinced.
try, you never know, right? So let them have the opportunity to try. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see that a lot of successful folks, right? In fact, the interesting thing is this: the family either gave up on trying to talk them out of their stubbornness,
Exactly.
or their family were actually quite supportive, right?
Yes.
So I would
Yes.
say that, that's actually one thing, you know, and I see that in HR as well. When we move people to new roles
Mm.
or a different you know, environment,
Mm.
yeah, I think that that's very important. The family and friends buy in, and of course, the other thing which is also very close to my heart now is about your financial situations, right?
Yes.
Do take a stock take of your financial situation so that you understand that whole financial impact the career change can pose on the family
Mm.
finances.
Mm.
Because it goes hand in hand. Family support will come if they know that they can pay for the next bill.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the bill doesn't get paid,
Yeah.
the support wouldn't come. So it
Yes.
has to go hand in hand, and we need to understand that this is how it works. So
Yes.
if you want to change something, you need to have some kind of at least a bit of savings that you can tide you over, you know,
Exactly.
a certain period of time.
Yeah.
So be very systematic about it. I would say the changing career cannot be a rash decision, or you wake up and one day find day, aha, I found my calling, I'm going to do this, right? It has to be done in a very systematic way. And if done right, I can assure that it will prove to be a wonderful and exciting phase of your life that you will look back and be excited and proud of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correct.
so that's,
Mm.
well, that's some final words from me.
Thank
What
you.
about you, Siren?
Thank you, Eng Sheng. I resonate with what you have mentioned, right? It's like, okay, you get your family support, and also be mindful of your financial situation, really the financial impact of the career change, right? So I would say, always save for rainy days. You never know when that is helpful, right? So yeah, it's very important that you have enough savings, especially it's like when we are starting out on our own. The first few months, for example, practically you're depleting your savings, right? Yeah. So it's very important that you have that financial standing. Okay, and probably just add on a few points. Pretty much we have already covered a lot of points in our earlier conversation. I would want to stress the importance of invest in self-development, right? Lifelong learning is really very important so that we always ensure that we stay relevant, which is very important, and that mentality mindset of growth mindset once again to embrace change because change is inevitable. By embracing change, right, it opens doors to new opportunities and as well as discover your potential and also fuel your growth. Yeah, so don't be afraid to step out of the comfort zone to try new things because especially now, right, sadly to say, companies are frequently undergoing restructuring, right? And also experiencing role changes. So it is crucial to embrace change and uncertainty, as well as continuously upskilling to pick up new skills and knowledge to remain relevant. I know it's not easy. Facing restructuring and losing one's job is not easy, right? Can be challenging.
Mm,
It's always important to stay positive, like what we've mentioned, choose to be happy no matter what happens to you. And also, right, then how you think about how you can actually turn this situation into a gift. Like how can you, maybe it's an opportunity to explore new career paths, pick up new skills, etc. So I myself, I also went through 2 restructuring, and I also lost my job too. So, but each time I came out stronger and wiser because I picked up new skills and knowledge. So embrace this as a chance for personal growth and development. So I guess that's what I want to conclude by saying. So the journey towards fulfillment is unique to each individual, right? So trust your instincts, passions as well, and also pursue a path that resonates with you. So best of luck to our viewers on this journey, and may you find joy and success in your chosen paths. So with that, it concludes our podcast session today, and I want to thank Eng Sheng once again for joining us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me.
My pleasure. Okay, thank you, and bye-bye to the viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.